Hey everyone, welcome to the Gray Matters podcast. I'm your host, Josh Perry, and today's guest is Dave Kempe, president of Nush Foods. Dave, welcome to the
Hi,
podcast.
everyone. Thanks, Josh.
So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, you're out on the West Coast?
West Coast, we're in Utah. So we call it Midwest here. I think there should be a
Midwest.
Mid-East, possibly.
Yeah,
One of
mid.
those things that hasn't changed over years and years here in the United States. But yeah, we're in Utah, Salt Lake City.
Awesome. And so, you and I met for the first time when I was just outside of Salt Lake City visiting back in January of 2020. And believe that's when the first time we met was when you came and picked me up from the ski resort that I was at.
Yeah. You were up there at Snowbird, I think it was,
Snowbird.
right?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I do believe that was the first time we met, which is strange because I think we were at the same events before then. But yeah, I do remember that. That was fun.
Yeah. You and Bobby picked me up, and we had a good time. Spent the day and a half or so together, and showed me around. Took me to the Nish warehouse, and showed me how things go down there, and had some
You got the
fun.
nickel tour here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. So yeah, I guess before we dive in further, can you give us a little bit of a background of who you are and what led you to becoming president of Nush?
Well, basically, I've been in the food industry for more than 20 years, and I was recruited into Nush. So Muffy Farrow, she's the founder of Nush, and she recruited me into it. She heard about me actually through her friends. Let's see, her friend's cousin's wife's brother. That's how
Yeah.
she found out about me. So yeah, that's how I became involved with Nush.
Awesome. And I know we're going to do another episode in the future because I believe that you have a really fascinating story and something that's really profound that could bring a lot of value to other people struggling with different things and thinking they're alone. And here you are, you look like a quote unquote an average person, healthy and well, but you've had your challenges, the two of us. And I think that's why we bond so well as our mutual love for taking care of your health with your choice, which, is what you put in your body. So on
Yeah,
that note,
absolutely.
what specifically is your role at Nush? Like, what does the day in, day out look like for you? What are you, in charge of, or how does all that work?
Yeah, it varies. I'm president, so basically, when it comes to all the operations, the sales, everything, we're a small company. We're not a large company, so we wear a lot of hats here. You mentioned Bobby. She's in accounting, customer service. She's on social media. I mean, there's a lot that we do here. So every day is different and unique, and with that comes a lot of variety, which I love, but at the same time it comes at a price. It can be chaotic sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember when I was there, you got to take some time to show me around, to show me, the factory and all that stuff, and that was pretty cool. But I could see definitely when you're growing, you're going to be in charge of a lot of things, and people play a lot of roles. And Bobby was actually the first one I talked to. Now that I remember, she sent me a DM a while ago and asked if I had wanted to try some Nush cakes, and I was like, I'm already a fan, so yeah, I'd love to. Um,
Yeah, send them over, right?
yep. So, yeah, with that being said, obviously, and people are starting to learn more that I'm a huge fan of Nush. And I want to see if you can take this time to just kind of describe like what Nush is and what Nush stands for.
Yeah, well, in a nutshell, Nush is a low carb bakery. We started out as an anti-sugar company before keto was huge. We had studied sugar, and we knew that sugar was the culprit to a lot of the health issues that people have today. So our goal was simply to make baked goods that could be sold in stores and are similar to the carby baked goods in taste and sugar, and texture and freshness. That's what our goal is.
So you mentioned, you guys started before keto was really big, and I know you and I had a conversation about how your intentions were one thing, and then you found yourself serving a community kind of indirectly but directly. You just weren't aware of it. So how did that come about? Like, what was the intention with the beginning of starting Nush, and how did it evolve to today?
The intention was, and this is still our intention, anyone who wants to avoid sugar, we are the company for them. Anyone who understands that refined carbohydrates are bad for you, that's our customer. And there are many different customers out there. I mean, it's funny, the VSG community, the Weight Watchers community has embraced us, the Atkins community has embraced us, but funny enough, the keto community, well, it was very interesting. I really wasn't familiar with the keto community. They found us. We did not search for them. They found us. We quickly had several fans. We had people promoting our product online, and we're just like, who are these people, and why won't they eat anything besides avocados and bacon? Like, what's going on with this? And yeah, after becoming more educated about keto, which is a diet that I follow now. I mean, it's a great fit. It's a wonderful fit. So really, I mean, as far as the keto community, that happened by accident.
Yeah, it's funny how things work, because that's kind of how keto fell into my life. I was searching for answers to rejuvenate my brain, to optimize my brain, to prevent brain tumors from occurring, and hopefully heal some of the damage from TBIs. And then that's when I stumbled across nutrition just being something profound and a choice that I have every day that can impact my health. And I know you've had your experiences that have led you down that route as well. And it's just interesting when you get so focused on a purpose, the possibilities that come into play that you weren't even thinking of before or didn't even know of, and how it shows up. And now I see Nush as being a prominent, food product in the keto community, because it hits so many points that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And then we just published the Ketogenic certification video, showing the process of the certification process for Nush cakes, what that means and all that. So I'm just really curious, taking a step back, where did the name Nush come from? Like, how did that come to be?
The name Nush, well, like I said, Nush, it doesn't mean anything. That's unfortunately, it has no meaning. What it's supposed to mean, nobody's ever going to get that out of it. We made it up. We were trying to communicate like a low carb, low sugar type of company in the name. And it was difficult because, there were some other names that we wanted, but after talking to our legal team, you cannot claim low carb, or you can't perceive your company as low carb, because low carb is not defined by the FDA. So any claim, or if you're trying to steer people into believing that, it's illegal. And which is kind of funny, because we see it everywhere. They really don't regulate it very well, but we go by the letter of the law. So we were trying to communicate that, and we were thinking like, no sugar, no shug, no nush. We were like, hey, we can put a smiley face on the U, and we're just like, this is fun. Okay. Yeah. And that's where it came from. So nobody will ever get no sugar out of it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, because like I kind of see it as like pushing, like Nush and push, but like you're pushing things away and making room for new things, new options that don't have sugar that are damaging to your brain, your performance altogether. So you mentioned, kind of what Nush is all about, the role that Nush is trying to provide in all communities, just a human being, try to provide and doing a good job at providing healthy, sweet-like options with cakes and treats and things that aren't going to be damaging to your health and performance, specifically your brain. So what is NUSHTRITION? What is like the backbone of Nush, and where does this term NUSHTRITION come from?
So Nush, there's, it's kind of a fun name, so we can play off of it a little bit. And, we say Nush to sugar. Yep. Everybody can understand that means say no to sugar, right?
It's almost like
and NUSHTRITION, NUSHTRITION, it describes what our values are. And these are the values that are in all of our products. So, I mean, NUSHTRITION really is the mission of Nush. It's a promise to our customers to make products that are nutrient rich, whole foods. So we're not going to put cheap fillers in there or unnatural ingredients, things like that. So you only get clean fuel for your mind and your body, which, unfortunately, there's not a lot of that out there. And if anybody who's had our products, you know that the portions are larger. It does satisfy your hunger, and that's what we do. So we satisfy your hunger with nutrient dense whole foods that are clean.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, if one cake doesn't do
That
the
that is
job,
nutrition in a nutshell.
yeah, no, that's amazing. I appreciate you sharing that, and I know that's something that's really important to Nush. It's important to me, and just on the notion that one is satisfying for people like myself that come from a background of binge eating, especially junk food. There's times where I want more than one, but what's amazing about having two, three, or a whole box even, it's not going to be damaging metabolically, which is also going to reduce inflammation and reduce inflammation from going to your brain. You're going to think, just as you were, if not maybe better than before. You're not going to have brain fog or headaches or any of these types of things. And that's the goal. That's the objective of, to me, Nush and what they stand for, but also what brought us together, because you and I kind of see very similar in our paths that led us to where we are today.
Yes.
There was a lot of learning lessons, kind of maybe wake up calls, and that's what I refer to them as. That led me to understanding the power of the choices I have in my food every day, and what that can do for my health, my performance, and just my quality of life. And that's something that I see Nush and I so aligned with, is trying to provide information, options, tools to help people optimize how they want to truly show up, so they don't have this gap with the reality externally and internally, but ultimately keeping them away from being their truest self. And so I believe, getting into like a deeper topic, but I think Nush goes further than just being a healthy, tasty treat. It
Yeah.
provides an opportunity to have those things, but also not sacrifice your health and well-being.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, that we've talked about this before, but when it comes to what's going on out there in the food industry, unfortunately, what most people are eating, it's not what you think it is. It's not what's on the label. The nutrition facts aren't correct. The ingredients aren't correct. You have things in there that are meant to they're meant for shelf life and profit, and that's what they're thinking about. So yeah, we aren't going to cut any corners. We aren't going to take any shortcuts. That's exactly what we're doing. I mean, I have a conscience, so I just I mean, we are a business, but at the same time, we don't have the same margins. We're willing to spend the money in areas where other companies aren't, to do things right.
Yeah, I love that, and that's to me integrity, and why I find that we resonate so well. Why we work together to promote similar values as a human being. And what you said was so profound. Like, you guys aren't cutting shortcuts, because it's not about the money as a business, which most people think about business is to create money, when actually it's a natural consequence of serving and supporting your purpose. And because you guys are so focused on purpose, to supply an opportunity as a tool to people to live the best life they possibly can without all these nasty ingredients and lies and false claims and all these things that go into it. You guys are going to be here for the long run, and you and I have talked about that. I strongly believe that, and I believe that purpose is what creates success and creates sustainable success. So I appreciate that you guys stand for that. And I also appreciate, when I was there, you get to show me around and just show me the process, and how, talk about why this ingredient over that. And like, maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but it yields such a better return on the human body.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you think about just natural flavors, why do we use organic certified natural flavors? The term natural flavors can mean, I mean, they're so full of synthetic carriers, and propylene glycol is in 90% of the flavorings that are out there that aren't certified organic. I mean, it's straight petroleum. And nobody. I mean, it's like, you want to drink this can of petroleum. I mean, nobody says yes. It's
Yeah.
just, you and it's just, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the food industry is, I've been in it, so I can see the corruption, and I know there's corruption in all industries. Anywhere there's money, there's corruption. But wow, the food industry is, it's there. There's a lot of, I call it food fraud.
Food fraud.
Yeah.
So on that note, what makes Nush so unique beyond the purpose, but when it comes to the actual product, like the food that we're consuming, you mentioned certifications, you mentioned not cutting
Yep.
corners and whole food ingredients that are clean and now tested metabolically sound, especially for people following a therapeutic ketogenic lifestyle, which is more of a topic that I'm going to be getting into more on the podcast specifically. So I just want to know, like, in your mind, what makes, because you have a very unique perspective on food products and the industry and formulating. So, like, what specifically comes to mind to you that makes Nush so
Yeah.
unique?
Well, I think something that really makes us unique, I think, and this is kind of what you just referred to. I mean, it's our willingness to go the extra mile to get some real certifications. A lot of companies, you'll see a little circle with a GF in it. They'll say, "Oh, we're gluten free," and they create these official looking symbols that no one is behind. Nobody's there. There's no third party to come in and actually check on what they're doing. So I think, yeah, one of the things that really makes us unique is that we've actually gone through and we've done that. So as far as what we're doing, we're certified keto through ketogenic.com. And that is not just any ordinary ketogenic certification.
Yeah.
They actually test, your blood. They have a panel of people where they test the blood to see what kind of metabolic impact your product has on people. So that's interesting. They're not just looking at your nutrition facts and taking your word for it. We're certified organic through QAI, gluten-free through GFCO, and kosher through Star K. So we have a lot of third parties that are coming into our facility who are inspecting everything, including, they do a mass balance. They look at the ingredients that we've purchased. They look at how many cakes and cookies we've sold and what that means, how much how much product we should have on hand and everything. It's called the mass balance. And you cannot cheat with that. A lot of manufacturers, like any other business, they get into positions that are difficult. For example, I like to use this as an example because, most people can relate to it. But let's say you're manufacturing something and you run out of your sugar-free chocolate chips that you've been using, and Nestle Toll House chocolate chips are widely available and easy to get, and the sugar-free chocolate chips, there's not as much out there. So instead of shutting down for 3 weeks or 4 weeks until the next supply is available of the sugar-free chocolate chips, when you're on the floor or you're in a business and you need to make a decision, and you're like, well, do we shut down for a month or do we buy these Toll House chocolate chip cookie or chocolate chips? Let's throw them in there. Nobody's going to know. And, we'll still be hitting our goals, making our revenue, blah, blah, blah. So, people think that the FDA is watching over everyone to make sure that they're using the ingredients that they say they're going to use. They're, the nutrition facts are correct. And that's not the case, unfortunately. They just don't have the resources to keep up with what is going on out there and what's happening. So that I think is one of the things that makes us most unique. And you can see it on our product. We have all those symbols, and they are consistently monitoring us and our operation. So, that also means we're not manufacturing this product out of a garage.
Yeah. It's always nice.
Or the basement. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and, it's like we were talking about before too, our desire to do things right and not to take the shortcuts. That's what we do. And a lot of manufacturers, the availability of products that they call it generally regarded as safe. There has been a lot of science and a lot of changes in the types of ingredients that you can use that are extremely inexpensive and that can prolong shelf life for a long time. And there are no large studies on them. We don't know what the effects are. They are not natural, I can tell you that. It boggles my mind how they are manufactured. But yeah, we never use anything like that. And, everything in our product you can actually see on our label.
And
we don't use, we don't use processing aids. People may or may not know that if you claim something as a processing aid and you use 2% or less of your formula of that product, you don't have to put that on your label.
That's really fascinating and scary at the same time.
It is.
Because on the ingredient list, the first ingredient you read is the most prominent ingredient in the product. Is that correct?
It is.
So what you
technically,
just mentioned,
that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, technically. But it's interesting because if you follow the ingredients down on most products, the enunciation of them becomes very difficult, and the meaning, you have no idea what they mean. But then going further is if a company decides to follow that kind of loophole and not put certain things on there because it doesn't meet a requirement in terms of percentage, that's really, really scary because you don't even know, like, if it's an ingredient list, you can like go Google most of these words or all the words that you can see and look up and make a decision for yourself. But then the fact that
look
they
up
can
cellulose, any kind of cellulose,
Yeah, you
and see
told me
where
about
that
that.
comes from. Yeah. I mean, people wonder why they have gut issues.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I've been finding really fascinating about our conversations with your perspective and knowledge is just certain things that I thought were like quote unquote normal or acceptable or actually what I thought it was maybe isn't. And I just think that's really scary because what comes to mind is my friend Miles. Someone I talked about a lot. He and I got him on track to implement a ketogenic diet the best we could to prevent drug-resistant seizures he was having. He was having multiples a day, and then he just went about 6 or 7 months without a single one, and then has now understood his blood sugar, his ketone levels, products. But he fell for the trap of, this product is a creamer, a coffee creamer, sugar-free keto, but it wasn't ketogenic certified. It was just keto. And
yeah.
it triggered a seizure, and we couldn't figure out why. And then I told him to send me the ingredient list, and I looked through them, and I was like, man, one of these words is also sugar. And so that's just, I think, what's really important with what Nush is doing with the ketogenic certification specifically, because even if you're not following a ketogenic diet or you're not even following a low carb diet, one, Nush cakes are going to taste great. Like you can taste them. The texture is pretty on point to anything I used to eat or want to eat now. Like it's tasty
Yep.
and it's satisfying. But more importantly, no matter what diet you're following, it's not going to compromise your blood sugar integrity. And it doesn't matter if you're following keto or not. Having spikes of blood sugar chronically or chronic elevated levels of blood sugar results in more inflammation, free radicals, which just creates damage, long story short. So I think having that third-party test, which I went to ASPE, the Applied Science Performance Institute, that Dr. Ryan Lowry helps run. I think he's president of ASPE and then CEO of Ketogenic.com. So I get to see and learn what goes into that. And it's not just one or two people. It's not just me. It's not just the products the company sends in. It goes beyond all that to avoid any kind of manipulation. So they look at young people, older people, people in peak shape with high muscle mass, people that are overweight with low muscle mass, and just see the response in all these individuals to get a true test of, is this product ketogenic certified? Is it keto friendly? Or does it just fail altogether? Which,
Yep.
no surprise, Nush Cakes passed. And I know there's some new products in the works, but I just think that that's really important, is because people can feel safe in their purchase and their consumption and not feel lied to, not question their response, and they can know like, hey, this product is going to be satisfying, it's not going to mess my blood sugar up, and it's going to allow me to become the best version or continue being the best version of myself, not the opposite.
It is exactly what it is marketed to be. Yeah. And, I mean, a little word of warning to your listeners, and I think you have a very educated following, so they most likely already know this, but in the industry right now, I see keto, the word keto popping up everywhere. It's a very popular term. The FDA has not defined what keto means, what ketogenic means. So there is no standard on how you can use that word. So it will pop because it sells. The word keto sells. Right now, it is a strong trend in retail that's growing. Because it sells, people will put that on anything, regardless of what the ingredients are. They'll throw keto up there, and they just know people will take it. So
And that's
just
so
read the
sad.
labels, look for the certifications.
Yeah, and it's sad because I've seen, I think it was TJ Maxx. We were looking for, I don't remember what we were there for, but I was looking through like the food section and they had keto creamers. And it was labeled keto because it had MCT oil added to it, but it still had cane sugar, like
Oh,
3 grams. And I was just like, how sad is this? Because so many people,
MCT oil is keto, right?
yeah,
They're twisting everything up. It is crazy.
and it's sad because two reasons stand out to me. They're just trying to make a profit, or 3 reasons actually, or they're intentional about wanting to provide a product that's going to help people, but they're just uneducated. Or the third option, or the third, I think, perspective piece that comes to mind is how many people in good faith are trying to implement something they've vaguely learned about can be beneficial, but they have no idea what goes into it. Because I've literally had people ask me, Josh, is butter a carb or is sugar keto? Like, they just don't understand. And so what I try to do is when I do use the word keto, always try to emphasize it's a metabolic state. So it's not just this product, that product, what you do, who you are, or what you're doing in your day. It's literally a metabolic state that we can test. It's the only diet you can literally test your blood to see if you're following it correctly per your individuality. So when a food is labeled keto, it can mean so many different things to that manufacturer, to that brand, to the individual buying it. But when you have a label that's ketogenic certified and you can go to the website, you can learn all about it, then you can feel safe in knowing that this product is not going to harm you. It's not just like the next product over there with sugar, but a little bit of MCT oil. It's a true ketogenic and a
If it
metabolic
has
standpoint.
MCT oil, it is certified keto. Come on, Josh. Everybody knows this.
And
Yeah,
well,
I mean, the marketers, I mean, a lot of these companies, they understand that there's a quick profit, and they're not going to
yeah.
be around for a long time. They're going to throw these products in there. They're going to manipulate the marketing. They know exactly how people are going to perceive this. Outside of the ketogenic community, it's like you said, they're taking advantage of people who haven't been fully educated in this, and they're going to take their word for it. And, it's sad. I see it in our low-carb community constantly. I mean, it makes me angry. People are trusting companies to do what they're saying, and they aren't. And they're expecting to put one thing in their body, and they're getting a completely other thing that they're not aware of. And they're wondering why they aren't getting the results that they're expecting from this.
Yeah.
There are so many wonderful keto stories out there, but they're not getting those results. And that's because you really don't know what's in some of these products out there. It is
Yeah.
scary, and it does make me angry, but, it is what it is.
But I think that's
Hopefully
what
people
fuels
will find
both
it.
of us. You personally, Nush as a brand, and myself is trying to educate, is trying to provide options, to provide awareness, to provide information so people can understand the basics of something that's so complex and they can implement it the best way. And so having Nush cakes and the other Nush products that we'll talk about in a minute, having that in your tool belt is a great way to fulfill, becoming the best version of yourself, not compromising your health and performance. Oh, Cheddar just popped in to say what's up.
All right.
Actually, I wanted to ask
Hey,
you about
Cheddar.
that. We because the ingredients are so clean and whole foods based, we were giving some to Cheddar, and he was just, we were giving him little bites, and he was loving it. So definitely won another fan there with
Um,
our puppy.
there was a misconception with a gentleman. He came in here, a mechanic, to work on a piece of equipment. He had no idea, what it was we were doing. He saw the cakes, and he's like, "You mind if I take some of these?" And I was like, "Yeah, go for it." He took them, and he had to come back, and he's like, "You know what? My dog really loved those. He couldn't get enough of them." And I'm like, "Your dog?" And he's like, "You guys don't make pet food?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh." was feeding them to his dog, but his dog loved them.
Oh,
It's
that's
kind of
awesome.
funny. I was like,
Yeah,
nope, it's for you, but your dog can eat them too. But yeah, here you go. It's human food.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we feed Cheddar a ketogenic diet anyways, and so Nish cakes fall right in line with there, and he loved it.
There you
So
go.
just give him little bites, here and there. So on that note, and I know we're getting close to our time. I want to respect your time. I know you're a busy man, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about, you're always innovating, and I've been there with you, and you're making, testing out new products, you're developing new things, you're trying new things, so like all the things you're able to share with us today, because I know there's always things going on. What are some new and exciting products that Nish has in the works?
When's this podcast going to air?
Well, depending on what you say and when that should be released, we can time it
Well,
there. But I guess just if it were to release in a week or two,
yeah,
what do you get going on?
we do keep everything close to the vest, but we are launching some products soon that I know everyone will love. In fact, I know that you have tried some of them out and you're excited about them. We're excited about them. But, you know, something about what we do, I'm not going to launch any product unless it's obviously clean and real. We've talked about that, but it's got to be better than everything else in the market currently. So this next year is going to make a lot of people, I think, happy, especially those who miss some of those wonderful carby comfort foods from the past. We do have some exciting stuff. And I mean, it's not just that some of these products, it's not even a substitute for what we've had in the past. It is dead on. I mean, we're getting very good at what we're able to accomplish as far as taste and texture and everything. So it's like the real thing, and I'm pretty excited about that. I think a lot of people will be happy about it, and living a more healthy lifestyle, a more nutritiously dense, a smarter way of eating. And we're going to make that much easier for everyone because they aren't going to have those temptations to go back to the carby. What is it that Jimmy Moore calls it? Garbage. We're not going
Garbage.
to go back to the garbage. They'll actually have an option for something that's not just real and whole and nutrient dense, but metabolically sound.
Yeah, I love that. And I know we can talk about it now because the cookies have been officially released, but when I was
Yes.
visiting, those were still in R&D development kind of going on there. And so I'm grateful to see that those have launched. And those before COVID were next in line to be ketogenic certified. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And they have been officially approved as ketogenic certified.
Oh, awesome.
We, unfortunately, with COVID, they weren't able to go through the process of, testing people's, the metabolic integrity of our product through people's blood. So they had to shut down for a little bit. So we went ahead and just printed our packaging without that certification. But we have officially gotten the notice from them that they are now ketogenic certified. And on the next round, that's actually already been printed and they'll be here sometime in late August or September. We'll have that symbol on our packaging. So they are officially now ketogenic.com certified.
Wow, congrats. That's amazing. I know
Yeah.
that's huge, and that's something that, I see Nush being one of the pioneers, using the certifications that are integrity filled to, help promote what you're all about, and that shows. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, going to be a game changer, and we're going to see a lot more brands following suit to that as soon as they start seeing what that really means. They start to understand it, and they start to see the value and what that offers. Because I know it's not an easy investment. I know it takes some investing, but like you mentioned in the beginning, like Nush isn't trying to cut corners. Nush isn't about a dollar. It's about a purpose. And I
Yep.
think that's what's amazing about Nush and why I'm grateful to be, partnering with Nush to promote these options and give people these tools, as I call them, to help fulfill their lives. And so, with that being said, I want to respect your time. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. I've got to see a little glimpse of that, and you mentioned you play a lot of different roles. But what are some things that Nush specifically, you Nush together, like what are you looking forward to? Like what excites you moving forward? And I know we have a little setback with COVID, but I know that's allowing some time to reflect. But In regards to Nush as a brand, maybe the ketogenic community, or just as a whole, like, what are you looking forward to coming up here in the next, few months to years?
I mean, it really is. I mean, the cakes have been very well received. We launched them about 4 years ago, and we're on of, you know, the third version of those cakes. And, through the process, with the first version, we were listening to feedback. We made changes. A second version, we made changes again. Now we've got the third version out there, and apparently they're just the bomb in everybody's mind. I mean, they're able to have, a blueberry muffin with their coffee. The blueberry cake, it tastes just
That's
like
my
a blueberry
favorite.
muffin. Yeah. And they have it with coffee every morning. I mean, they can have a blueberry muffin or the banana nut. I mean, I personally, I miss banana nut bread, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's delicious. It's wonderful, but you can have that now. So we've created some great substitutes that solve those breakfast and with coffee, with tea sort of problems that, somebody wants to have something with that, which is, why we were doing really well in coffee shops.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, many of them had to shut down for a few months. So yeah, COVID's been very odd with retail, and we've been navigating our way through that. But so I think the thing that I'm excited about most is because of what we went through with the cakes, we were able to make a cookie that was very unique and different. I mean, it's a soft texture, it's delicious, and it's not the normal dry biscuit type of product that is made to be out there. A lot of the products that are made, we have our own factory. You saw it.
Hmm.
A lot of products that are manufactured, they use co-packers. And what they do is they go in, they purchase one large run, and the minimums are normally astronomical. I mean, it's very expensive, it's costly. So in order to make a profit on that, they need to be able to warehouse their product for a long time as they sell through that. And our product, we make it fresh. Everything that's leaving our factory has been manufactured in the last couple of weeks, where you could be, purchasing other things that have maybe been manufactured 8, 9 months ago, and they still have 5 or 6 months left in shelf life.
It's crazy.
So so the thing that's exciting to me, I think, and I understand I'm kind of going back and forth with this, but I think where I'm trying to get is the products that we are manufacturing and everything that's coming out. And what excites me about that is people have now a fresh alternative that looks and feels like the real thing. We don't have to worry about what other manufacturers have to worry about as far as shelf life. Nothing that we manufacture is going to be the same in 2 years. Normal whole food is not like that. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, we're able to give people options that, aren't the dry and crusty type of long-term product. I mean, it is what it is. It's a nice, fresh, baked good for people. And that's going to come in a lot of different forms in the future.
Yeah, I love that, and I definitely love the cookies. As far as being a now ketogenic certified cookie, I haven't experienced any keto like cookies that resemble texture to a cookie that is
Yeah.
not keto. So I really appreciate that. And the other products that we won't mention that I've had the privilege of testing, some of my favorites, and definitely appreciate all that you and Nush are doing. And I'm really excited to see the growth of Nush. I know you've shared with me personally some goals that you guys have for growing the facility and the brand in general, and that's what I'm trying to do. My part in helping is grow the awareness to the brand and just how good something can taste and be for you at the same time. There's no one or the other. A lot of people think eating quote unquote healthy has to taste like grass, and although you can consume wheatgrass shots that taste like the earth, there's other things that are more what we're accustomed to tasting but aren't going to be metabolically damaging. It's going to allow your brain to be high performing. So Yeah, I just want to thank you for your time today, Dave, and I'm really looking forward to
Yeah,
when the pandemic, goes away. Hopefully sooner than later that we can get together and hang out, and I can come visit the warehouse again, and just appreciate your time and appreciate all that you guys do. And if there's anything that you want to add to leave off with, you got it.
yeah, yeah. I'd say a couple of things. One, we're happy to be working with you to further educate the community, as well as as we all learn together about nutrition and our bodies and living our best lives. So we're proud to be a part of the community and this movement. We want to provide avenues for our community to grow and better themselves. And you're in a great position to do this with your incredibly inspiring story fighting the brain tumors, as well as the education that you recently went through, the Keto Mastery Program, I believe is what it's called, through
Yep.
ketogenic.com. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and you're educated in nutrition, your weight loss, life. So yeah, you're a gifted communicator, and we're here to support you in any way we can. Um, Another thing I would just say to all of your listeners, support the companies that want to do things right out there. There are a few of us in the low carb space that have gone the extra mile at a financial cost to us because we know it's right. And we simply cannot take those shortcuts. So so who you support now, it's going to reflect the type of products that are going to be available in the future. So yeah, be conscious of who you support.
Yeah, it's a good thing to mention. Vote with your dollars. I think that that's something
Yep.
that's really important, as well as you get what you pay for. If you get
Yes, you do.
cheap
Yeah.
products, you're gonna get cheap ingredients,
Don't
and you're
ask
gonna
why
feel it.
the healthy food is so expensive. Ask why the cheap food is so cheap, because that is the much scarier question.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, as well as something I like to share is perspective, is like reframe what you just said, because I get that excuse all the time, like, oh, this carton of eggs is $5, $6, and I'm like, but what about your Starbucks coffee you have every morning?
Yep.
So let's reframe how we're looking at these, and what would it take to optimize your choices and what you purchase to put in your body, which actually does make up who you are. Sometimes
Yep.
different things take longer, but it does make up you as a being. So yeah, definitely appreciate you mentioning that. And then if people want to follow Nush Foods on Instagram, it's Nush_foods. And then
Yes,
Twitter
that's
and
correct.
Facebook is just Nush Foods, and then
Yep.
nushfoods.com. And you can check out all the different flavors. I think, so to end it, I think my favorite flavor is the blueberry, the banana nut you mentioned. I've been kind of leaning towards cherry almond, but the raspberries and cream, those
Yeah.
cake flavors are probably my top. I'd say those top three. Cherry almond is kind of working its way in there, but I definitely appreciate those. And a little pro tip: if you heat them up in a little toaster oven or your toaster, whatever you gotta do, and put a little bit of butter or like a
Oh,
little bit of cream cheese on there, you have a great combo
just
as
like
well.
it's baked fresh. The
Yep.
taste, the texture, the smell, the aroma. Yeah, all of it. It's like fresh out of the oven.
Yep. Well, cool, Dave. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to hop on and chat with me today. I'm excited to share this, and I'm excited to share more about Nush in the future. And also, I'm excited for you and I diving more into your background, your story, and what led you to where you are today, because I think it's going to be really eye-opening for a lot of people. It'll help inspire a lot of people. I talk about motivation not being the goal, inspiration, inspiring new perspectives and
Yep.
choices. I think that'll help a lot of people. So again, thanks for being you and all that you offer to Nush and the ketogenic community and people in general.
Well, thank you, Josh. This was fun, and I look forward to talking about everything else.